Okay, today's lesson is 4.6, Algebraic Properties. We're going to be discussing the different algebraic properties and identifying them. We're going to do the warm-ups, so go ahead and pause the video and then start it back up and you can check your warm-ups. Okay, Mike's Air Conditioning Repair Shop charged $50 for a house call and then charged $110 per hour. $50 is not going to change. $110 per hour will change depending on how many hours he is there. That equals your bill. Okay. Constant plus coefficient equals total. All right. You want to do simple interest because it says simple interest. Your interest equals $825 times 6% times 6.5 years. 825 times 6% times 6.5 is $321.75. So the interest you will earn is $321.75. Now you have to be careful. You have to remember to put the percent sign on your 6. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with an answer that is $32,175. Now, you have to ask yourself, is the answer reasonable? Did anybody get 31,000?
Yeah.
You did? Okay, because you forgot to put the percentage next to the 6. If you get an answer like that, you have to ask yourself, is that reasonable? Do not write on my desk. Is that answer reasonable? Does it make sense that I would put $800 into a bank, leave it in savings for 6.5 years, and then they would pay me $32,000? Does that make sense? No. So when you get an answer, you have to ask yourself, is that answer reasonable? Okay. Blank percent of blank is blank. The football team goes out for pizza after the game. The bill is $53.60, and they want to give the waitress a 25% tip. 25 goes here. Your total is $53.60. That goes here. So now you have to multiply because of means multiply. $53.60 times 25, don't forget your percent, equals $13.40. So they're going to leave a $13.40 tip. Now, the question is that my answer? Class, is that my answer? No. The other question is, what do I do? Do I add it to that or subtract it? No! Tip gets added. You're leaving extra money for what the waitress did. The waitress brought you your food, so you're leaving extra money. That gets added onto your bill. So $13.40 plus $53.60 equals $67. So your bill is $67. You always add tip. Always add tip. It's extra money you pay. If it's a discount, what do you do to discounts, kids? You subtract discounts. Okay, here we go. All right. We are going to create foldables. Oh, you're not. But people in class are. But the key to this is memorization. Let me tell you how memorization works, Daniel. You memorize things by attaching it to something you already know. I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you examples of how I memorized this stuff. That won't work for you. You'll write it down. You go, oh, that's a good idea. You'll write it down, and then you'll forget it. Because it has to attach to something you know. Anybody in here have Mr. Bondison for English? Ask Mr. Bondison about his memory techniques. He has excellent memory techniques. How many of you are going to college? Okay. This is a skill you will need for college. You're going to have to memorize certain things about the different classes you take. Okay? So you're going to need a method to remember stuff. So here's what I do. I'm going to tell it to you. Don't write anything down until I tell you to. Listen to what I'm saying, and then you're going to want to take this and connect it to something in your brain. Now, here's how the teenage brain works. The more disgusting, the more funny, the more ridiculous the scenario is, the easier you will remember it. I can't come up with really disgusting scenarios for you, okay? So you're going to have to come up with them on your own. I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, so the first one is distributive property. Now, I know what a distributor is. I used to work on cars as a kid. They had distributors. A spark plugs hook up to the distributor, go from the distributor to the spark plug wires, hook up to the distributor, the wires go to the spark plug. They carry They carry spark to the spark plug, which ignites the fuel-air mixture, which makes your engine go. I know what a distributor is. So when I see distributive property, I associate that with, don't write this yet, a distributor. Here is my distributor, right here. And it delivers spark to this number and this number. That's my memory technique. You guys have always been told rainbows, right? With distributive property, you're told, write the rainbows. So your memory technique probably is rainbow. Here's your rainbows. So go ahead, after distributive property, write rainbow, and then draw in your rainbows. That's how you're going to remember distributive property. Now, I'm giving it to you, so if you don't put it in your head somehow, it's not going to work. Maybe you don't like rainbow. Maybe you can think of something really disgusting. I don't know. Cheesecake. I don't know what it is. But if you somehow could link distributive property to cheesecake, we all know what cheesecake is, right?
Yes.
If you could link distributive property to the cheesecake in your memory, in your mind, you will never forget distributive property. I guarantee it. Okay? Identity. Identity, I use ID. You get back your ID. There was an A. He was added to 0, but I got A back. There was an A. He was multiplied by 1, but I got A back. You get your identity back. Write down identity if you want. You're going to have to come up with something, okay? Commutative. What's going on here? A plus B equals B plus A. What did they do with A and B? They flipped them, didn't they? They flipped them. So my key word for commutative is flipping. A times B equals B times A. How do I remember commutative and flipping? Well, I know what a community is. Do you guys know what a community is? It's the neighborhood you live in. So I picture myself doing flips through my community. I picture myself doing flips through my community and I have no clothes on. I'm flipping through my neighborhood naked. That's how I remember it. Now, that's not going to work for you. Leland, stop looking at me like that. That's not going to work for you. I think of that. When I see flipping, the first thing that comes to my head is me doing backflips through my neighborhood. Okay? Maybe you want to give the old salute. Maybe you're going through your community, telling everybody they're number one. Telling everybody they're number one. And that's how you'll remember commutative is flipping. Okay? Associative property. Associative property, I think of associate. That is, grouping doesn't matter. Excellent. See, B and C are hanging out together, right? B and C are getting kind of chummy. Maybe they're boyfriend, girlfriend. But all of a sudden, what happens? What does B do? B is cheating on C with A. He is acting like an associative. He's acting like an associative. It's grouping. B is grouped with C, and then B gets grouped with A. Acting like an associative. We're dealing with association. Has anybody ever heard of a little thing called the National Basketball Association? Yeah, the NBA. They call it an association because it's different teams who associate with each other. And as they play games, they associate with different teams. It's the National Basketball Association. Now, inverse property, I know that means reciprocal. It means opposite. Inverse means opposite. That's our keyword, opposite. A minus A equals 0. A times 1 over A equals 1. Okay? It means the opposite. Okay? Okay. For our friends on the internet, go through the problems on the notes, go through your homework, try to identify which property it is based on these definitions and examples. If you have any questions, please come in and ask. We are going to do an activity that involves creating a foldable. If you want to have that foldable, please come and see me. I will go through and show you how to create the foldable. All right. Thanks, and have